You're listening to Equality Radio.
Equality Radio.
Fabulous.
Now, here's your host, Randall White.
Randall White on Q-Talk America.
Taking your calls at 424-272-6365. That's 4242 Randall with an O-L, not Randall. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you on this day immediately following the big Supreme Court announcements. Have you had a chance to decompress, to breathe? Did you get out and rally a little bit yesterday and enjoy yourself? Hopefully you got that opportunity to take in the moment. Clearly, there's more work to be done, but hey, we got one in the win column, two in the win column, really. And so enjoy it for a moment. Great to have you with us, everyone. I'm Randall White. Speaking of the fight needs to continue, how about President Obama? Did you hear about this today? President Obama is pushing for marriage equality in all 50 states. This has been reported by several news organizations. I found an article on OpposingViews.com that offered several quotes by the president. He says, "It's my personal belief, and I'm speaking now as a president, not as a lawyer. If you're married in Massachusetts and you move someplace else, you're still married," he said at a press conference in Dakar, Senegal. All right, Senegal is not exactly the most gay-friendly country. It's one of those West African countries. So pretty ballsy of the president to make these quotes. Clearly, he knew it was going to be carried over here into the United States. He also is quoted as saying, again, this is out of OpposingViews.com, "It's important that people who deserve these benefits, that they're getting them quickly," Obama said, calling the ruling a victory for American democracy. Though the Supreme Court essentially ruled that gay couples are equal to heterosexual couples according to the law, the ruling did not legalize, as we know, same-sex marriage nationwide. So, boy, we have an ally in our corner, that is for sure. President Obama has held to his campaign promises of doing things for the LGBT community, including getting rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And he keeps sticking his neck out there for us. He doesn't have to run for anything ever again, but it doesn't matter the circumstances. He's really, he's pulling for us. Okay, it's the Thursday edition of Equality Radio. 8 minutes past the hour here, 3:08 in the Pacific time zone, 6:08 Eastern. Wherever you're joining us, we are certainly glad you are. The 27th day of June, 2013. We now have the rulings of both Prop 8 in California and DOMA behind us with more than 24 hours and have had a little time to assess the situation. And that's mostly what our show will focus on today. We have some great guests coming up here on Q-Talk America. In our first segment today, we're speaking with U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin from Wisconsin. She joins us from Washington, D.C., with her take on where to go next in our ongoing fight for equality. Senator Baldwin is history-setting herself as the first and only openly gay member of the U.S. Senate. We are so happy to have her here on Equality Radio, and I have had the pleasure over the years of knowing Senator Baldwin and can tell you that she is an upstanding woman. I'm so happy that she moved from her congressional seat to a Senate seat and that her congressional seat was then filled by someone else I know, Mark Pocan. Congressman Mark Pocan now holds that seat. He's also out and openly gay. At the bottom of the hour today, we take a trip around the nation visiting the best sports cities for the LGBT crowd. Are you a sports-minded person? Well, then you'll want to stay tuned. New York marketing firm Target 10, they're called, took a look at local gay sports teams, organizations, sports bars, among other factors, including cities that host, say, the gay games and other tournaments, and then compiled that list into a top 10 of U.S. cities. And some of them are obvious ones on the list. A few might surprise you. Did your city make the cut? Stick around and find out. And then in our final segment this evening, the Supreme Court's gutting of DOMA leaves many people wondering how it affects them. How does it affect you? I'm a little curious. I'm a married man legally here in California. And I'm curious. I know that it'll make my taxes a lot easier, but what else? Well, stick around to find out. Andrew CRAY returns to the show. He's a political analyst with LGBT Progress at the Center for American Progress. He will be joining the show with some answers. Hey, smartphone and tablet users, it's really easy to listen to Q Talk on the go. Just download the TuneIn app, search Q Talk, and then save it as your favorite. You just hit the little heart. I think it's a heart shape. It's free, too, so you have no excuses. That way you can listen while you commute, bike, hike, jog, you name it. Just tool around the house. Shoutcast is another option as well. And what's the one? Stitcher carries most of the shows here on Q Talk America. So just type in the name of your favorite show or just type in Q Talk and it'll give you a list of all the shows. I believe Equality Radio now has enough episodes under its belt to be in that Stitcher listing. I haven't checked it recently. Maybe I'll do that during the commercial break coming up here. Your comments and opinions, always the stars of the show. So jump onto our Twitter or Facebook feeds. Just search Equality Radio and we'll pop up to the top. We're very easy to find. And you can also just follow the social media links at equalityradio.net. That's an easy way to check it out. Also, if you would like to communicate with us, there's really, honestly, no easier way to do it and to remain anonymous if you don't want your name out there than by going to the Q Talk America website, qtalkamerica.com, clicking on the chat room, and then just type out, say whatever you like. I'll log into the chat room coming up here in just a moment. And we'd really like to hear what you think of your city. What's your favorite, for the bottom of the hour, what's your favorite sports city? Let us in on that little bit of information. I want to quickly run down a couple of things that happened on this day in history. Well, yesterday was a huge day in history. 10 years ago, the Supreme Court striking down sodomy laws, and then yesterday striking down DOMA and Prop 8. But today, in 1952, the McCarran-Walter Immigration and Nationality Act, bars immigrants afflicted with psychopathic personality. That's a phrase that was interpreted to include all homosexuals. In 1972, Gay News became England's first national gay newspaper. And in 1994, Deborah Batts became the first openly LGBTQ U.S. federal judge. She's still serving in New York. And earlier this year, became a judge. And then just a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, in 2010, same-sex marriage in Iceland was legislated, and the prime minister and her partner among the first to make use of the law. You're listening to Equality Radio here on Q Talk America. I'm your host, Randall White. Just after the break, we'll be speaking with U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. She's definitely in our corner, and you'll want to hear this interview coming up in just a moment.
Equality Radio.
Join the conversation. Give us a call. 424-272-6365.
Equality Radio.
And then after our interview with Senator Baldwin, we check out America's best sports cities for the LGBTQ crowd. And then finally, we answer some DOMA questions in our final segment. You're listening to Equality Radio. I'm host Randall White, and we're back in just a moment. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex, open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool, meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas. Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org.
Imagine a world where bullying isn't considered a normal part of childhood.
A world where I'm not afraid to go to school.
To speak out.
To be myself.
A world where I'm not afraid to be caught alone.
Come on, punk.
We have the power to stop the bullying. Speak out.
Speak up.
Educate.
Find out what to look for and how you can make a difference at bullying.org.
Bullying is not kids being kids.
It's not about good homes
Or bad homes.
It's not a normal part of growing up. I shouldn't be afraid to get on the school bus.
To turn on my computer.
Or walk to my locker. Did you know that a bully will stop his or her behavior in 10 seconds when their peers speak up?
Use your voice.
Hey, leave him alone.
We have the power to stop bullying.
Find out more at bullying.org,
bullying.org.
where you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex, open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool. Meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas.
You're listening to
Randall White on Q-Talk America. Equality Radio.
19 minutes past the hour here on this Thursday. I'm your host, Randall White, and so happy to have you with us today following yesterday's big decisions by the justices of the Supreme Court of the United States, which brings, as you know, marriage equality back to California, the nation's most populous state. And for all those same-sex couples legally married and living in states where these rights are granted, those marriages are now recognized by the federal government as well. But where do we go from here? And what do yesterday's Prop 8 and DOMA rulings mean for states where marriage equality is not the law of the land and where constitutional amendments are in place to limit marriage to one man and one woman still? Joining us on the live line right now from Washington, D.C. is my former representative in Congress, and now I'm happy to say a U.S. Senator from the great state of Wisconsin, Senator Tammy Baldwin. Tammy, welcome to the program.
Well, it's a delight to join you.
It really is nice to speak with you, and I can only imagine that you've been incredibly busy over the past 24 hours.
Very busy, but in a wonderful way, celebrating the progress made through those two decisions yesterday, and of course, recharging our batteries because there are battles yet to be fought.
Yeah, there are a lot of battles to be fought still. I mean, aside from marriage, clearly we have bullying issues, and also ENDA still needs some great attention, but in direct relationship to yesterday's rulings, Wisconsin is one of those states. In fact, I left Wisconsin in October of 2006, just weeks before Amendment 1 was passed by voters in every county of the state except for your home county of Dane County.
Yes, indeed. I remember that that night in November of 2006, and how depressing it was actually to have this move forward. And I also have seen over recent years how much public sentiment has changed, and we've seen it across the country. It's also happening in the state of Wisconsin, and I think voters today in Wisconsin would take a very different look at this issue were the proposition before them today. But unfortunately, it's not. It's in our state constitution, and we have to put together a plan to get it out.
Wisconsin's surrounded by marriage equality. You have Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois was considering it up until the last moment. There may be another.
Well, I think they still predict that it will be, it will be a marriage equality state in the not too distant future. So pretty soon, Wisconsin will be surrounded by states that have moved forward on this, and forward is Wisconsin's motto. That's
right.
What we need to do too.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was thinking. So I'm hoping that Wisconsin will move in that direction. I still visit the state almost on an annual basis, and I just have so many close friends there and love it. Would love for my marriage here, my California marriage here, to be have equal standing when I go to visit Wisconsin. Let's talk.
Absolutely.
Tammy, let's talk a little bit about ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Where does that stand?
Well, the legislation has been introduced in the U.S. Senate, and just this week we got up to 53 sponsors of the bill. That's a record that hasn't been achieved before, and it's very, very exciting. We have a pledge and a commitment from the committee chair, Senator Harkin of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, to hold a hearing and markup on that bill. And I think there's a really good opportunity later this summer to have a floor vote before the U.S. Senate. This would really be historic. While I do not anticipate that the House of Representatives, as currently composed, is likely to embrace the Employment Non-Discrimination Act at this time, I think this helps build momentum, it helps organize, and frankly, this record number of sponsors is very encouraging to me.
It's encouraging to see the number of senators specifically that are changing their tune to some degree, including some of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. The most recent, Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, showing her support for same-sex marriage. How did you feel when you found that out?
Oh, I was delighted, and I had a chance to speak with her very shortly after her statement became public, and just thank her for being taking some courage. These are Republican senators, sometimes from states where they're really being leaders by doing this, and so that's really exciting. And I also think it helps many Americans who are in the same position, who are contemplating this issue. Perhaps a few years back might not have been open to supporting marriage equality, who, because of the people that they know, members of their family, neighbors, fellow congregants at church, are saying, wow, I really have to rethink long-held beliefs, and like the president, they're evolving on this issue.
Right. Senator Baldwin, you were in Congress for a number of years, so you know how Congress works, and that it is you're constantly up for election. And it must be a nice breath of fresh air for you to be able to go 6 years and not have to worry about your next election. But for the members of Congress that come from districts that are incredibly red and incredibly close-minded to the idea of equality on any level, whether it be marriage or work or any other stretch of it, what would be your advice to them to be able to switch over to the side of equality and still win those elections every 2 years?
Well, I still think that we are the most likely way that people change their minds and change their hearts at a fundamental level is as they meet and get to know people who are openly gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. That's how the education happens. That's how the change happens. But, when I was in the House of Representatives, and a lot of my activity around advancing these issues would be counting the vote, trying to persuade my colleagues of the right thing to do. And sometimes, for example, on the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, they were more likely to be persuaded based on the fact that the Fortune 500 companies in their constituencies had already passed policies, employment policies that refused to discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. And these representatives, as conservatives as they were figuring out that they're really behind the times. They're behind the times with corporate America as well as behind the times with many of the people that they represent.
Several years ago, it was either in 2005 or 2006, you and I were at a red ribbon dinner event at the Monona Terrace in Madison. We were seated at the same table, I believe, with Mark Kane from WISC, and Mark and I were speaking at that event, as did you. And you said something at that event that has stuck with me to this day. I'm getting chills on my arm right now thinking about it. And that is, you said, if you want to live in a place where it's okay to walk down the street holding your partner's hand, then walk down the street holding your partner's hand. And that really stuck with me, and it very much changed the way that I live and the way that I interact with others.
Yes, I remember those words because we are half the equation, and our visibility and being out is what helps change opinions and minds and hearts. And too many people just say, well, I can't wait for the day in which I can do X. Or, whether that's walking down the street, holding the hand of the person you love, or bringing that person to the office party, or running for office as an openly gay person. We always... too often we put off that day and say, well, someday it'll be okay. Well, we make that day. That's right. The whole idea. We make it by doing things publicly, openly, until it's just the way things are.
U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin from the great state of Wisconsin, thank you so much for being on Equality Radio today. I know you're very busy, and I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you.
All right, stick around, everyone. We're back in just a moment. Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org. You're listening to Equality Radio on QTalk America, equalityradio.net, qtalkamerica.com.
Imagine a world where bullying isn't considered a normal part of childhood.
A world where I'm not afraid to go to school.
To speak out.
To be myself.
A world where I'm not afraid to be caught alone.
Come on, punk.
We have the power to stop the bullying. Speak out.
Speak up.
Educate.
Find out what to look for and how you can make a difference at bullying.org.
Bullying is not kids being kids.
It's not about good homes
or bad homes.
It's not a normal part of growing up. I shouldn't be afraid to get on the school bus.
To turn on my computer.
Or walk to my locker. Did you know that a bully will stop his or her behavior in 10 seconds when their peers speak up?
Use your voice.
Hey, leave him alone.
We have the power to stop bullying.
Find out more at bullying.org,
Bullying.org.
where you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex, open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool, meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas. Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org.
You're listening to Equality Radio.
Equality Radio.
Fabulous.
Now, here's your host, Randall White.
Randall White on Q Talk America.
33 minutes past the hour here on this Thursday. It is June the 27th, and we're really happy that you're joining us. Boy, it feels like June. Okay, so I have to admit I'm a little bit weak on this whole front because I live on California's Central Coast, where the temperature range pretty much goes between like low 60s and upper 70s. And today it's 90 degrees out there and just a little hot for this flower. I gotta tell you. And I don't know what's wrong with the air conditioning today. Of course, on one of the hotter days of the year, I'm not feeling anything come out of that vent. We have lights in here and computer monitors and everything you can imagine. So it's a warm one today. I'm sorry if you're watching the Ustream cast. I apologize if I'm glowing a little bit. It's just because I'm still so excited over yesterday's announcements from the Supreme Court. All right, great to have you here, everyone. And today, this segment, we are talking about the U.S.'s top gay sports cities. So, different cities sort of feature different activities and have different passions. But some cities offer a much larger range of things for the LGBT sports fanatic. And joining us on the line right now to talk a little bit about a top 10 list that was put out, along with an infographic that you can find at equalityradio.net, is Matt TUMMINELLO. He's with New York's Target 10 marketing firm. They are the ones that ran down the list of cities, culminated it all, and then put it into a top 10 list. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Randall. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much. When I saw this, a couple of weeks ago, I wrote a little news article around it, and then I keep going back to it and referencing it just because I find it interesting. I am a sports fan, and one of my favorite things about visiting Chicago is that I even have a T-shirt from there, is that it has this fantastic sports bar it's a gay sports bar. You know, who knew those two things could go together? But the people in Chicago did, and that's why Chicago ranks pretty highly on this list, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of a bunch of factors, and it is kind of cool having gay sports bars, and we're seeing that in a lot of cities now. I mean, I'm here in New York, and we've got 3, which is just so great, and I think it, kind of debunks a few myths that we don't like sports. We actually love sports.
Right.
And I just think it speaks to the diversity of the community, and what makes these cities pretty cool.
So this list broke down. According to the infographic anyway, there are 6 different categories that were considered when ranking the cities. Sports bars is one of them. Let's go down the different ones, starting with, I'm trying to read this on the screen here. What does that say? A large
red one is
a large population.
Yeah, and just kind of as a caveat for all of these, there's lots of different ways you can slice and dice research, and what we thought is, like, if we wanted to dig into sports, how might we approach it? And so there's a bunch of categories here, and the first one is population, and we wanted to balance that a little bit, because cities like, LA, New York, Chicago, they've got a lot of people versus, say, a Seattle, so you have to factor that in. So what we did was, you could get a maximum of 2 points here. It was first just, what's the LGBT population overall, and then what's the percentage of LGBT population. So you might not have as many, but your percentage might be higher. For instance, Washington, D.C. has a higher percentage of LGBTs than New York City. So that was like the first kind of scoring for a max of 2 points.
Okay, and then also, I know when I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, there were a number of gay sports leagues. They even had a gay hockey team or league, I guess. And I thought, well, that's cool. There must be enough people living here, to form these sorts of things. And so larger cities, I imagine, have more of these.
Yeah, and that's why actually we kind of balance things out there too. If the presence of one of these leagues that you were talking about was in the city, you could get a point. But that was really not based on the number of, say, there might be more gay volleyball teams in LA than there is in Portland. But we're only kind of giving 1 point per league there. And You're right. When you were in Wisconsin, these things are everywhere. And I think that's what we wanted to show everybody is there are a lot of LGBTs out there playing and enjoying sports, and it really wasn't too hard to find a lot of sports teams in all these different cities.
Isn't that cool? I love that aspect of it. So then you really can't put a list together nowadays without including Google.
Right. Google's awesome. Google Trends is a really cool tool that they have available to anybody, really, who wants to use it. And we went into that feature of Google, and you can search under things. You can search, say, the terms gay hockey, or you can search gay soccer. And you can break it down by cities and say how many people from those cities are searching under that term. And so you see in this infographic that we put out, the terms that we searched under, and they were, as I was saying, like gay hockey, gay football, gay basketball, and you could get points based on that, a maximum of 7, 1 for each time your city ranked for one of those search terms. And that was pretty cool, too. And just the reason why we didn't do something like LGBT football or LGBT soccer is, unfortunately, that that phrasing isn't used often enough for it to actually create a trend. But there's enough people typing in the word gay that makes it work.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to think about yourself and how would you type it in if I was looking for a gay softball league or something here where I live. It would be unlikely I would type in LGBT softball, so
yeah,
makes sense.
You're probably looking to see who's going out at night, and where do you want to play? You want to play volleyball with some people, so you're going to search for gay volleyball.
Yeah. Matt, you and I have something in common, and we may have even crossed paths. Who knows? But Matt, you went to the gay games in Chicago back in 2006. I remember, as you probably do, it was oppressively hot and sticky. We went to the opening ceremony, and it was really nice. My very close friend Robert Heyman got us some tickets. Fortunately, he has the disposable income to buy tickets that were in an air-conditioned booth. We actually had one of those really nice, where you get drinks served to you and that sort of thing. But I would have never have been able to afford that myself. But I really enjoyed the gay games, and I remember Mayor Daley, right? Mayor Daley came out and, announced the start of the games and how proud he was to have them in his city, and said some really progressive things for 2006. We've come a long way in just the last year. When you think back all the way to 2006, he was really sticking his neck out there. So another reason why Chicago ranks number 1. We haven't gone down the rankings yet. Right now we're just talking about what put them on the list, but Chicago has played host to the gay games.
Yeah, and one little correction there. Chicago and New York tie for number one. That's to stick up my hometown here.
Oh, right.
They each got 17 points.
And so I guess, what did you just do it alphabetically then? Chicago, that's why they're in that first little slot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If there was a tie, then we would just do it alphabetically.
So Chicago and New York. I guess it makes sense. New York should be near the list, or near the top of the list, and then San Francisco right after that. But we won't give the entire list away yet. All right, then the other thing is LGBT sports nights.
Yeah, this is when, you might be in a city where one of the major leagues, and I'm not talking about LGBT organizations, I'm talking about, say, the Boston Red Sox or something like that. Do they have an LGBT night at the stadium or the ballpark or something like that? And, increasingly a lot of cities do, and that's awesome. And if you're in a city that does that, you can get points, the maximum of 5. So, we looked at the NBA, NHL, so hockey, football, baseball. We also looked at WNBA, and that was really fun to see that pop up. And I bet you a year from now, there'll be more points added to this list.
Yeah. Oh, good. This is going to be an annual continued list.
Yeah, I'd love to do it, and I think it's just also just a trend that we're seeing. I mean, I think I just saw something on Outsports today about, another gay night at yet another Major League Baseball team's ballpark or something like that. So I think this is just a trend that we're going to be seeing, across the country as we kind of move toward greater inclusion and equality.
Right. One thing that by including the national different leagues, like hockey and baseball and that sort of thing, it does weed out the smaller cities that don't have those leagues. Unless you include whether, a AA team or something has a gay night, but it keeps,
exactly.
Yeah, it keeps
we
the
just
cities
looked at
larger.
the majors, but they are, there are quite a lot of Major League sports teams out there, though. So I think, it's not limited to just the top tier cities.
Yeah.
I think it does cast a wide net.
So then the final issue is the one I brought up first, which is, are there gay sports bars? And so let's get to the list now. Chicago and New York tied at number 1. I've been schooled. And so at 17 points each, San Francisco just 1 point behind. That is my home city, and I lived there for many years, and I just love San Francisco. Washington, D.C., as you mentioned, having a very large gay population as a percentage. I've been to DuPont Circle on many occasions and love D.C. as well. 15 points for Washington. And then Atlanta. I don't know why that surprises me, but Atlanta came in with 14 points, representing the South.
Did you think it would be higher or lower?
Lower, but I've never been to Atlanta. In fact, I sent you an email earlier today saying that I'd been to most of these cities except Atlanta, Houston, and Dallas, and I realized, that's sort of it's all the southern cities. I have been to New Orleans and Florida, but those cities don't strike me as very southern.
But you have to go visit. Atlanta's a great city.
I have heard that, as a matter of fact. So, all right, then Boston coming in with 13 points. Love Boston. And Los Angeles, I thought, would be higher on this list. Los Angeles with 13 points, tied with Boston. What kept Los Angeles so low on the list?
Yeah, that's interesting. We're hearing questions from people from LA saying, hey, what about my team? I mean, LA is an amazing sports team, and there's tons out there. But going by this criteria, it just didn't make the cut.
That's where it fell. And then rounding out the list, Houston, Dallas, Philadelphia, and Seattle. Matt Tumminello with Target 10. It's target-10.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Randall.
Equality Radio.
Join the conversation. Give us a call. 424-272-6365.
Equality Radio.
And when we return, there's yet more. Are you scratching your head about DOMA? What does it mean? How does it reach now that we're in a post-DOMA era? Well, we'll be joined by LGBT Progress, Andrew CRAY, right after the break. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex. Open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool. Meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas.
Imagine a world where bullying isn't considered a normal part of childhood.
A world where I'm not afraid to go to school.
To speak out.
To be myself.
A world where I'm not afraid to be caught alone.
Come on, punk.
We have the power to stop the bullying. Speak out.
Speak up.
Educate.
Find out what to look for and how you can make a difference at bullying.org.
Bullying is not kids being kids.
It's not about good homes
or bad homes.
It's not a normal part of growing up. I shouldn't be afraid to get on the school bus.
To turn on my computer.
Message. Or walk to my locker. Did you know that a bully will stop his or her behavior in 10 seconds when their peers speak up?
Use your voice.
Hey, leave him alone.
We have the power to stop bullying.
Find out more at bullying.org.
Bullying.org.
Where you're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Can we have your attention for a moment? Eat, Drink, Explore Media has an important date we want to share with you. Saturday, July 13th. We invite you to join us at a craft beer and food event like no other. At last count, generous samples from more than 70 breweries will be paired with local culinary treats for the 2013 Breast Fest along San Francisco's waterfront at Fort Mason. Going on its 14th year, the annual Breast Fest has grown dramatically, raising money for an incredibly important cause, providing free, complimentary treatments for women battling breast cancer. The Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers services such as acupuncture, massage, organic foods, and transportation. The clinic's core mission to provide relief from the terrible side effects of cancer and its treatments. Eat, Drink, Explore Media is very proud to be among the main sponsors for this year's event. For more information, go to thebreastfest.org. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex. Open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool. Meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas.
You're listening to
Randall White on Q Talk America. Equality Radio.
49 minutes now past the hour. Time for our final segment here on Equality Radio on this Thursday, June the 27th. We're so happy you could join us, and many of you very excited about yesterday's news that the Supreme Court gutted DOMA, the so-called Defense of Marriage Act, no longer the standing law of the land. But what does that mean? I assume it means that I can file my taxes with my husband together jointly as a married couple this coming year. My federal taxes, I've been filing them as my state taxes that way for years now. In fact, it makes it incredibly complicated and messed up, so I'm really happy about that aspect of DOMA. But what about some of the other aspects of DOMA? What are the ramifications in this post-DOMA era? Well, to help explain some of this to us, we bring and welcome back to the program Andrew CRAY. He's with thinkprogress.org, the LGBT division. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Randall. It's great to be talking with you again.
Likewise. So what was it like yesterday there at Think Progress? People must have been ecstatic.
I have to say, as soon as the decision was posted online, you could hear cheers erupting to the entire office. Everyone was very excited. We had a very celebratory day yesterday, and now we're rolling up our sleeves and getting hard at work at really making the rubber hit the road on this.
Yeah, because there's so much more to do, and there's also there's a lot to make sure that the infrastructure will be in place for all of it to happen, right? Because DOMA really affects so many laws.
Absolutely. There's over 1,000 federal benefits alone that are impacted by the Defense of Marriage Act. It's a significant process to implement yesterday's decision, but rest assured, groups like ours and others, and the Obama administration too, everyone's hard at work to make sure that married same-sex couples are going to have the most comprehensive access to benefits that's possible.
Now, a friend of mine, Steve Rothaus, wrote an article for the Miami Herald yesterday talking about DOMA, and I tweeted it out. I'll be honest, I didn't read it. It was one of those where I know Steve well enough. I knew whatever he was saying must be good, so I threw it into the feed. And you responded saying that there were some inaccuracies in that article. And so I'm wondering, are there some misconceptions about DOMA that some people may be led to believe are the case?
Absolutely. A lot of people are shooting pretty quick off the hip after the decision yesterday. I know it's a very exciting time, and people are really hungry for information about what the impact of the Windsor decision is. We've gotten a lot of responses after the Supreme Court decision yesterday with people asking us if we know what the story is, but also a lot of people presenting myths as facts. There are three big myths that I've heard about yesterday's decision that I really wanted to bust for folks who are listening today.
Oh, okay. So listen up, everyone. Here we go. The big three.
Here we go. The first big myth that I've heard, and this is the one that I read in the article that you tweeted yesterday, this is also something that Governor Chris Christie in New Jersey said yesterday, which is that this decision means nothing for states where they don't have full marriage recognition for same-sex couples.
Oh.
This simply isn't true. There's actually a lot of federal benefits that follow married couples regardless of where they live. Some laws, like the laws governing military spousal benefits, for example, recognize marriages as long as they were legal in the state where the couple tied the knot. That's called a place of celebration rule. So that means that in New Jersey, where Chris Christie was so quick to get on the microphone, if a married couple gets married in New York or Delaware, but one of the spouses is stationed in New Jersey, they'll still be entitled to the full range of military spousal benefits. And I would say that that definitely means something for New Jersey.
Yeah. And that's great news. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah. A second big myth, though, is kind of the opposite of that, which is that this decision means that all married same-sex couples will get all the same benefits as other married couples.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, this isn't true either.
Well, that just let the wind out of my sails. I even said to my husband last night, I'm like, we are exactly the same in the eyes of the federal government now, but you're telling me that's not true.
Well, the laws are complicated. Some benefits, like Social Security retirement benefits, only recognize marriages that are valid in the state where the couple is living at the time. That's called a place of domicile rule. So that means that if a couple gets married in New York and moves to New Jersey, they might not have access to the same Social Security retirement benefits as other married couples. But the federal government is already looking at how agencies can ensure fair and equal treatment for all married couples, and LGBT organizations are right there by their side, providing guidance on how to tear down those kinds of barriers to getting the same benefits as other couples.
All right, and then I guess we have number 3. What is the third biggest misconception following the DOMA decision?
The third biggest myth that I've heard is that this case means that we've won LGBT equality. And I have to say that even with Section 3 of DOMA falling down, as you say, DOMA is gutted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of couples out there who are still in domestic partnerships or civil unions or who don't have access to legal recognition of their relationships at all. And that's why we need to pass the Respect for Marriage Act, which was introduced in Congress yesterday. And there's also a sad situation where a lot of LGBT people are not protected from discrimination in the workplace, where folks need a fair path to citizenship. and where all patients, trans patients, people living with HIV, need access to health care. So there's a whole host of other elements of LGBT equality that we still have to be on the lookout for, and this isn't the end of the road for the LGBT movement. We still have a long way to go before we have full equality, but folks are working hard on it.
We're speaking with Andrew CRAY. Andrew works at LGBT Progress. That's part of Think Progress. You can find them online at thinkprogress.org/LGBT. Andrew, you're giving us just some really great information here. I'm wondering about the immigration aspect. You brought up immigration. What happens if somebody is married to someone right now who is not a legal U.S. citizen, and after DOMA, does that work out now? Can that person become a citizen more easily?
Yes. One of the great benefits of yesterday's decision are that same-sex married couples can now sponsor each other for green cards. So obtaining citizenship is going to be a lot easier for these couples. And as you might have seen in the news yesterday, actually, a deportation was halted for a same-sex couple not even like 10 minutes after the decision was handed down for the Supreme Court.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, there's already couples who are seeing the tangible benefits of justice. So it's pretty incredible stuff.
How about the news out of Senegal today regarding the president's comments that he believes, and he said he was just speaking as the president, not as a lawyer, that if you're married in Massachusetts and you move someplace else, you're still married. That's pretty strong from the president.
I have to agree. Although the president did do his due diligence as an attorney by saying that he was speaking as himself and not as a lawyer. But I have to say that everything that we've heard out of the administration and out of the president himself has been a tone of recognizing that yesterday's decision was a great victory for the American people.
I just think it's fantastic. And you're fantastic, Andrew. We love having you on. You are a good brain. Andrew CRAY, thinkprogress.org/LGBT. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, sir.
Thank you, Randall.
All right, everyone, that does it for our Thursday edition.
You've been listening to
Equality Radio.
Connect with us online at equalityradio.net.
Equality Radio.
Tomorrow's the big Friday, and we take you down to Los Angeles, where there is a minister at a very large church who says, you know what, it's okay to be gay. We'll talk to him and some other topics as well. You can find us online at equalityradio.net. Q Talk America as well. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar is the place Las Vegas locals and tourists alike go to enjoy a welcoming environment with a small town feel. Meet up with friends and relax at Flex. Open 24 hours a day. Flex is located on the west side of Las Vegas at West Charleston and Arville, just 4 miles from downtown and the Strip. Flex is known for its friendly bartenders, loose gaming, and inexpensive cocktails. Stop by whenever you're in Vegas and play a game of pool. Meet a friend, or even make a new one. To see the schedule of drag queen karaoke, dance club activities, and gaming options, log on to flexlasvegas.com. That's flexlasvegas.com. Flex Cocktail Lounge and LGBT Bar, the place to enjoy our Las Vegas.